Thank you for downloading episode 361 of the Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong podcast. This week, we have crossing over, deleting college funding, Paulding County in the news, ready, aim, fire, body slams under the Gold Dome are A-OK, the resignation that wasn't, and making public baths phallus-free. I'm Dave Roberts. With me is my partner in this endeavor, Pike County Commissioner Ken Pullen.
Phallus-free. I had to look that up earlier. I don't hear that terminology much in South Georgia.
You may hear phallic, but yeah, phallus-free. I'm trying to find ways of not using the terminology that I use in the locker room.
Yeah, I've really never heard that term much before. So learn something new every day.
Well, you have noted here, has Trump finished his speech yet?
I'm picking on Trump a little bit. He actually did really good last week, I thought, but his speech was 2 hours. It was, people were saying it was a State of the Union. It was just a joint session of Congress. But did you watch it last week? Because it was,
yes.
I mean, I love the part where he just pointed at the Democrats and said, I could basically cure cancer, and they still wouldn't stand up and clap. And we talk about it all the time. I mean, if this is their plan for the next 2 years, Republicans are going to just win more and more seats in Congress, and they're going to win more seats in the Senate, because not standing up when Trump, he's the little 13-year-old boy that's got brain cancer or a brain tumor, and he awarded him I don't know the official terminology, but he said, you're a member of the Secret Service now.
It's honorary.
Honorary Secret Service member. How do you not stand up for that?
The kid has a scar across the top of his head where he's had brain surgeries.
I know, and then the guy standing up with the cane that got thrown out. I mean,
that was Al Green.
Democrats are trying to make that
not to be confused with the awesome singer from the 70s, now Reverend Al Green.
Yeah, but they're trying to make that into something racist, which it wasn't. There's nothing racist about that. He just acted like an idiot. But I mean, if that's truly if this is how Democrats think they are going to win back the House and the Senate and even a White House, I mean, they are just floundering around at the moment. It is, it's entertaining to watch. I mean,
I did hear a commentator say, maybe if you can walk and shake your cane at somebody, you don't need a cane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, it's just, I watched it for about an hour. I can't watch anybody speak for 2 hours, but I thought
I break it up. I put it on DVR.
Trump did good in a speech. Yeah, I mean, I thought he did a good job, and he's doing good. I think people reacted to his speech very well. I think it had a very high approval rating. So good for
I'm not
Trump.
saying Liz Warren hasn't earned it, but addressing Congress is not the right time to call a sitting senator Pocahontas.
I thought that was entertaining, though. I mean,
that was funny.
Refers to her ass. Yeah, it's where we are in politics nowadays, unfortunately. But yeah.
But there were several people that were pointed out in the gallery. One was the girl who had a TBI, traumatic brain injury, from a man in volleyball spiking the ball in her face.
Yes, that was a good moment too. Yep.
And then you had the kid
who also got kicked out of her FIMU sorority. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, that same girl got kicked out of her sorority for speaking out about that. But yeah, and then, I mean, the West Point. So Trump did really well with having people there. And he had Laken Riley's family there sitting with his wife.
Yes, it wasn't just, for once, his speech wasn't me, what I'm doing.
I know, exactly.
And as he stood up there and told stories, and told individual stories, and explained to the members why he wants the legislation that he wants, pointing out examples of what happens when you put a biological male in a physical contest with a biological female. It's not fair. Especially when we talk about contact sports, the fouls in basketball, and MMA, especially when you talk about never being hit like that before, because you're being hit by a man. So one of the responses, some Democrats, I guess it was mostly a squad, came up with I guess this is a trend on TikTok, to choose your fighter.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I guess it's supposed to be like Street Fighter.
Okay.
And I guess I just remember playing Street Fighter in arcades. But yeah, you would scroll through and choose which fighter you want. But it was just stupid. First of all, AOC probably did the best version of what it would look like with the springing knees. But what is up with the zebra stripe in her office or her room or whatever? I mean,
I don't know what's going on there. I really don't. And again, I mean, if that's who's leading them, whew.
But some of these women were like throwing punches at the camera and stuff, and like, you probably shouldn't be doing this because you're embarrassing yourself. It's the same thing that Jesus Guns and Baby did with the sitting there in a tank top with boxing gloves hanging around saying, I'm a fighter. Like, no, you're not.
Did you say Jesus, Guns, and Babies?
Yes.
That's going to be a very crowded. I mean, all the word on the street is the longer Governor Kemp doesn't get into the Senate, the more you're going to have all these people around Georgia starting to get itchy. I don't know. Mike Collins, we've talked about Mike before. He goes to the same church we do, but he's got ads running all over the state of Georgia right now talking about his constituent services. So there is a host of people about to jump in these statewide races pretty soon. But we'll have to cover that on really soon here because everybody's about to start jumping in. Everybody's starting to get itchy.
Late last week, we got the news on what actually happened to Gene Hackman, and it's wild.
Yes, it was. Jeez.
So was it a hantavirus, whatever it is? The wife had a virus that's carried by
Who was
rodents.
his caretaker, really, because she was younger.
Yep, by 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, good for Gene. But so apparently with this virus, it progresses very quickly. Like you go from feeling you have a cold or allergy or something like that to all of a sudden having water on the lungs, which is a pleurisy or pleural effusion. And I've had pleurisy before. It hurts like hell. But it goes to that and it progresses very, very quickly to death. And she was his caregiver. Now, here's the weird thing. She died a week before he did.
Wow.
And he was 95 years old with very advanced Alzheimer's. So, and you just imagine this poor old man. I forget how awesome Gene Hackman was as an actor and all that stuff. Is this poor old man walking around a house and nobody really knows what his abilities were around the house. If he had the ability to get himself something to eat or, what they know he died of heart failure. He had heart disease. He was 95 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he had heart disease and all that stuff. That's probably why we haven't seen him lately, is she was guarding his dignity. But you can't tell me, with all the money that Gene Hackman made, Academy Award winner, they couldn't afford to get a live-in nurse.
Yeah, I know.
Because last time she was spotted, she was going to, I think it was CVS. It was a pharmacy that she went to. It was the last time she was spotted. Alive, anyway. I don't know what she was buying, if she was buying like cough medicine for herself because she wasn't feeling well, or she's picking up meds for him. I have no idea why she was there. I haven't heard. But very, very sad. The ending for Gene and essentially the dog had the same things. They were both locked in their crates. And then it was, I think, another 9 days before anybody went and looked.
Yep.
Like, where were the kids during this 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I don't know. It sounded like they lived out in the middle of nowhere, though, right? They were out of New Mexico somewhere. Sounds like somewhere I'd like to live. Just out in the middle of nowhere.
And by all accounts, she was a dutiful wife, and she was taking care of them. Maybe the kids didn't call because they didn't like hearing their father rant and stuff like. I have no idea. But I don't know who doesn't talk. I mean, I talk to my parents at least weekly, if not several times a week. And that's just strange to me. Of course, this past weekend was the beginning of daylight saving time.
Hey, man, golf game's starting to get good this time of year. Get to play in the afternoons after work.
Why can't we just stay on it?
Why can't we do something? Yeah, rolling back is terrible. So, yeah, it'll start staying light till 8 o'clock now. And middle of summer, it'll be after 9 o'clock. So, yeah, this is a great time of the year.
Yeah, so everybody had to spring back and, of course, fall forward.
Yep.
You don't want to fall back because you smack the back of your head and you spring back like something scared. You're like, ah!
If they got rid of it, what would they do the first time? We would just spring forward and march, and they would get rid of falling back. Is that the plan? What most people want?
That's what most people want.
Okay, so they want to get rid of falling back,
That they want to get rid of standard time.
which is falling back, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of one of them. I just didn't know which one they wanted to get rid of.
Either way, just pick a. Even during the summer, it stays light till 9 o'clock. If it got dark at 8 o'clock, it wouldn't put a kink in your golf plans.
Yeah. I got
You can still squeeze 9 in after work.
Yeah, I don't want 9. No, I don't do that. 18 or nothing.
All or nothing.
All or nothing.
Oh, there's a joke. There's a joke there I'm not going to make on this show. So Zelensky kind of came to heel past week. We knew this was going to happen when Trump kicked him out of the White House. He ran to Europe, and Europe just doesn't have any money. They're in their own financial crisis. So he went to the EU, and now he's like, no, let's negotiate. Let's come to the table. Yeah, let's negotiate. And that's, I won't say it's the same as walking away from the table at Reykjavik, but it's very similar. So getting into the show, crossover day was Thursday.
Yes, and we've got some bills that made it, didn't get voted. Well, actually, bills that didn't even come up, and then we've got some updates on some things that passed one chamber this week.
Well,
I was going to say, sports betting was one of the biggest things that people have been trying to get past forever. We're only one of the 12 states that don't allow sports betting, and that didn't get a vote in either chamber this time. I'm still surprised sports betting cannot muster a vote.
They're doing it wrong. Deregulate it. You don't have to allow betting houses. You don't have to allow horse tracks.
Yep.
Just allow someone to go out on one of the hundreds of apps that are advertised every Sunday watching football if you want to place a bet. Yes, people have gambling problems. People have drinking problems too. People die of lung cancer from cigarettes. Yes, some things aren't good for people, but the vast majority of people who sports bet aren't, they're doing it to make your team's on a bye week and you got 3 games to watch. Might as well make them interesting. Give yourself somebody to root for.
Yeah, but no bet. Georgia lobbying or it's the really I forget the guy's name. They lobby really hard against sports betting. So yeah, I'm still surprised that it's never got put on the ballot for a constitutional amendment.
Yeah, the Georgia Baptist Association is against it. I don't know what part of freedom they're actually for. They don't want you to drink, don't want you to smoke, don't want you to gamble. Don't want you to dance if you watch Footloose. All right, 2 bills passed the Georgia House. They're both for school zone legislation.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about school zone. Let me start with Dell Washburn's first, because his is the simplest bill. So Dell is a representative out of the Macon area. So his bill was House Bill 225. It passed 129 to 37. So there's actually 30-something Republicans that voted against his bill. But his bill does away altogether with these cameras. And then there was another bill by Representative Alan Powell out of the Hartwell area that it was House Bill 651. It passed 164 to 8, the House, and it basically kills the cameras with process reform. So his was a process bill. So basically, where Dell's gets rid of them altogether, Powell's bill requires feedback signs incoming or informing oncoming drivers of their speeds before they get to a camera. It requires half of the jurisdiction speed camera ticket proceeds go to local schools. A lot of people don't realize this, but none of the money for schools on camera tickets goes to the local school system. It goes either in the sheriff's pocket or the city's pocket. It eliminates a $25 administrative fee on these tickets. It says tickets can cost no more than $75 for a first and $125 for a second. And then when your ticket arrives in the mail, it has to be clearly marked. And then it also eliminates this process where cities and counties can send the unpaid school zone tickets to the Department of Revenue, which prevents you from renewing your car tag every single year. So basically, if Powell's bill went through and the Senate approved it, there's no way this would be a profitable endeavor for for local sheriffs and police chiefs of putting these cameras up. Now, what I thought was, go ahead.
I would have thrown one more thing on Powell's bill, is that they have to be calibrated at least monthly.
I know, that's another thing. So the other side of this is Bob Dallas, who was a former governor's highway safety, who is a lobbyist for the camera tickets. And by the way, they've paid over $700,000 in political donations. This is what this dude wanted. He was arguing that the cameras should be on all throughout the school day because children and parents come and go all day long. He said Blue Line would support the warning devices going in. And he also wants to keep sending unpaid tickets to the Department of Revenue. So this dude's like, hey, I just don't want what's going on in the mornings and afternoons. I want them all day long, but we will help pay for some of the features that Representative Powell's bill puts in. So we'll see. I mean, both of these bills are going to the Senate now. I think we're hearing whispers that the Senate's not going to pass either one of them. Cue the $700,000 in political donations. But we will see. They're in I think when they come back today, they'll be in like day 30. So they've got about 10 more days left for this session. So if you want the school zone camera tickets eliminated, I would call your state senator and voice your opinion on it.
That's not who's killing it. From
what I understand, Kemp's killing it?
No, Lieutenant Governor.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, he's going to be running for governor next year. I don't know why Burt Jones would kill this bill.
We're in the 25-26 session, so now that it's already passed the House, they can stick it in their pocket till next year, can't they?
Yeah, I guess he could stick it in his pocket till next year when people are thinking about it a little bit more. But yeah, maybe so. Maybe he sticks it in his pocket and waits till next year. I don't know. We'll see though.
Yeah, that one's big because, like I said, I've gone past a school in Cobb County on a holiday. I think it was either Christmas or Thanksgiving, and the lights were flashing, and I'm like,
"Yep."
Yeah, like in the summer, you can be like, there might be summer school, whatever, but I know damn well nobody's in school on Christmas.
No, I know.
So yeah, that one has lots of problems. All right, RFRA passed.
Go ahead. We'll move on to
RFRA passed the Senate.
And that was Senator Setzler, who used to be a chairman in the House of Representatives. He passed RFRA. His bill was real simple. It just confirms what is in federal law, which is the government has to have a compelling reason to ban your speech or go against your speech. That's all it does. It's the most simplest bill ever, but they've had a really hard time just confirming what federal legislation does. So I think this thing will probably die in the House. The House has really never had, maybe Speaker Burns lets it through, but the House has never had much of an inclination to take out RFRA in the past. I
don't know why. It's already the law of the land.
Yeah, and you have more rights federally for speech than you do religious freedom than you do statewide. So our state's behind the federal part of this.
This really kicked up under COVID.
Yeah,
the desire for this bill because of closing churches and things like that. So it really picked up under COVID, the desire for this. But as COVID starts fading into a memory, I mean, look, it started 5 years ago.
Yep.
As it fades into the memory, I don't think people have the fire in the belly and the appetite to go after it.
Yeah, all right. No. And in school cell phones, this is a crazy one. I know you're about to get to this, but I like this bill. This was House Bill 340. Public school students in kindergarten through 8th grade would be banned from using cell phones during the school day. I don't know why this is controversial. I mean, why should you be using a cell phone if you're an 8th grader or below? That doesn't make any sense. So that actually passed the House.
The only argument that I heard, which really is kind of out there, is emergencies, a school shooter, something like that, is a lot of kids called 911 from their cell phones. It doesn't say they can't have them.
Yeah, it says you can't get them out and use them.
Right.
Yep.
And if somebody's going down the hall popping off shots, I mean, we're going to give you a waiver on that one.
Yeah, we are, definitely.
But yeah, I don't see how it's controversial. I don't want to see them in class at any level. and I don't care at college level either, because they're not phones anymore. They're handheld computers.
No, I know.
It's everything that we saw in Star Trek, where one of the characters would pull out something off their hip and start punching buttons and say, "Oh, this is what I'm reading." And that's kind of where we are on this. And yeah, you're damn right. There's no use for it. It's just at some point there's so many other devices. The Apple Watch. As they keep making the glasses more and more.
I know they do.
Yeah, sneakier and sneakier, that you don't necessarily know you're on camera and stuff. And I mean, how long will it be before you have a HUD, heads-up display in your glasses, where you can sit there with your phone in your pocket or your phone in your backpack and be able to scroll through information during a test, because it just looks like you're wearing glasses. All right. House Resolution 174 didn't pass. Would have been a constitutional referendum on whether the state school superintendent should be appointed.
I'm all for this. I wish it would have passed. I bet 98% of the people in Georgia don't know who the school superintendent is. And when they go vote on a school superintendent, they have no clue what the positions are. There's just an R or D behind their name. I would much rather the governor appoint the school superintendent and be done with it.
And confirmed in the Senate.
Yeah, and confirmed in the Senate. We've got way too many appointments. Even I think Department of Labor commissioners should be appointed. Insurance commissioners should be appointed. Nobody knows who these people are running for office. Just
Secretary of State.
Yes, that's a different one. I don't necessarily disagree, but it's just there's too many people on the ballot nowadays. It just creates confusion. Nobody knows who they are or can name them or pick them out of a lineup. So they had to appoint every one of those, and like you said, let the Senate confirm.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's okay if you see a race that you don't know anything about. It's okay to skip it. You don't have to vote R or D.
Yeah, but nobody does that.
I do. If I don't know, I don't. All right, didn't pass guns.
Most of the time when I know, I don't vote on them. It's not that I don't. Yeah, most of the time I don't vote on people I know. Yeah, go ahead.
What didn't pass? Guns and kids.
Yeah, this was House Bill 1 that would require people to secure guns from their children, which I don't know how they would have ever enforced this. I guess if some accident happened in your house, you could get charged with a crime. But yeah, this was a bad bill, but it didn't pass. It was a Democrat bill too. So with bipartisan support, I think there were a couple of Republican, with an R beside their names, signed on to this up in the northern part of Atlanta.
All right, lawmakers passed SB 220, which would outlaw drinks laced with THC.
I know, and look, I know people that have got some of these drinks laced with THC and really like them. So it sounds like if this passes the House, then you will not have the drinks anymore with the THC.
They're going the wrong way on THC.
Yeah, I think they are on this one, but we'll see.
They don't sell to kids. You have to be 21 to buy them.
Yes, right.
And that goes for the gummies also. They have THC in them.
Yeah.
Hopefully this one dies in the House. And they quote, they quote doctors saying kids get into this. It's not good for kids. It looks like a soda. I've never had one, but I imagine it tastes just like pot smells.
Yep.
With some other flavors, they're trying to cover it. Like you don't accidentally get a hold of it.
Nope.
And they're usually marked pretty well. I mean, again, kids shouldn't be drinking alcohol.
Nope,
You have to be 21 to buy it. Well, I think what's getting people kind of wrapped around the axle on it is there's no good way to test for THC intoxication on the side of the road.
No, there's not at all.
I think the Sheriff's Association is probably pushing this one.
Yep, I would imagine.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to say this was mine, but I thought this was a very interesting bill. It was by Representative Houston Gaines, who's also the vice chairman of the Republican caucus in Atlanta. He introduced a bill that would put more notice on your tax bill when it goes out, your property tax bill. So for these counties that are opting out of HB 581, which passed back in November, if the county or school system opted out, it would add language to your property tax assessment or property tax bill that said your county opted out with a vote of, and you'd have to put the vote. So let's say 5-0 or 4-1 or 3-1 or whatever it was of HB 581. And then it also would make the school system list the amount of money they've got in their reserve fund. So what you've seen is a lot of school systems opted out of this legislation, but they're also sitting on a pile of cash. So they're really going after these school boards and county boards, county commissions that opted out of House Bill 581, which was approved by the voters back in November by a margin of over 60%. So this is another bill that's the lawmakers are really going after local governments here. And it passed the House. I would imagine this will get a vote in the Senate too, and your tax bill will look a lot different if it does.
It should come with the budget too. All right, Colton Moore passes his first bill, and Van Johnson is going to be pissed.
How about that? Now, what's pretty cool about this is, Colton's a lightning rod up there. He got kicked out of the Republican caucus in the Senate, but at least Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones let the Senator Moore pass a bill in the Senate. So I think this is a good thing. I've talked about it a ton. You go over on the House side, if you don't do exactly what leadership does over there, you never even get an opportunity to pass a bill. I mean, they strip you of everything that ever happened over there. So good for Lieutenant Governor of letting Colton pass a bill. This was a bill like a preemption law, which basically said if the city or county or municipality was passing gun control via local ordinance, then there was a civil fine that they would have to pay. And I think you just said it. They're really going after some of these Democrat strongholds around the state of Georgia, which try to pass more restrictive gun laws than is at the state level.
And of course, Van Johnson is the mayor of Savannah.
Poster child. Yep.
And
poster child for this.
He's poster child for everything wrong. He got sued and lost because he was blocking people on a page he uses to disseminate official information.
Yeah, right.
He kept wanting to exclude public parks from carry laws, which he doesn't have the authority to do. So this really is smacking Van Johnson around, and he's probably the top target on that one, because little cities that do it, I don't think that really comes up as much. It just wouldn't come up on the radar unless a citizen really raised hell about it. But it's really going after like Van Johnson, and to the point is what it's bad enough that I have to understand the carry laws of every state I travel to. Then for me to have to do it for every municipality in Georgia to figure out where I can and can't carry a pistol. Which, if you ever see me in public, outside of anywhere that's strictly prohibited, I'm armed. I carry every day, work or play. So then to have to, if I happen to cross over to the city of Savannah and do whatever, go to what they consider a public area, like a restaurant or something. You can't carry it here. The Savannah law. No, it's garbage. That was good. I mean, it's a good bill by Senator Moore.
I did put that this is probably dead on arrival in the House. I can't imagine the Speaker letting a Colton Moore bill. I don't even think anybody will pick it up in the House. So, to get it passed in the House, somebody would have to sign on for it. I don't think Colton's got anybody over there that'll sign on to this. So I think it's dead on arrival, but good for Lieutenant Governor for letting Colton have his moment.
All right. Now on to other news. Trump cuts funding to Columbia University by, I think it's $400 million.
Yeah, $400 million. Yeah, and federal grants and contracts.
Columbia, and I guess what's the women's college there that they're having the riots?
Oh man, I forgot the name of it. Yes, that's what it is. So
it's not about freedom of speech. If you want to go out and protest Israel, that's your right. I think you're stupid. It's not our business, but it's your right.
Yeah, but you can. I mean, that's freedom of speech, right? I mean, you have the freedom to do that.
Busting the doors down, intimidating Jewish students, keeping Jewish students out of buildings. Where there was a film of one kid who's like, I have class in there, like you can't come in. And this is not being addressed by these universities, and it's getting violent, and they're not doing anything about it. So I don't know how much How much of this is posturing to get them to go, no, we get it. We'll step up. We'll enforce the rules.
I don't know. Look, I don't want $400 million of my tax money. Not that I pay that much in taxes going to Columbia. If you've seen the what do they call it? The money that they have in reserves too. It's like the school board I just talked about. A lot of these colleges have billions of dollars. In their
endowments.
Reserve account endowments. And I don't care
Harvard,
if they do this.
Yeah, Harvard has a huge endowment.
Yeah, so
Harvard could private finance any day they want to.
Yeah, they can fund their own stuff. And look, like you said, this is not about speech. This was these pro-Palestinian students having violence over Jewish kids that were going to school there. So they were intimidating them, scaring them, locking them in certain areas. And that's what they said. And this was Linda McMahon, who is over at the Department of Education now. She's the one that said they'd lose federal funding if they didn't combat anti-Semitism on its campus. So good for the government doing this.
Yeah.
They'll clean their act up.
Speech is not violence, and the reverse is true. Violence is not speech. So both those things are true at the same time. Your right to protest ends when you infringe upon somebody else's right of movement, when you threaten someone else's safety, when you damage property. All that is not speech. Those are acts of violence. So yeah, I'd like to see the DOE pull funding from most universities. I mean, the reason education is so expensive is it's free. Now, go to Columbia is $70,000 a year before paying to live in New York, before getting a book, before having a place to stay, before eating. That's just the price of admission. That's it. Right? $70,000 a year.
Yep.
And these kids are squandering $70,000 a year by dressing up. And look, most of these are paid protesters, and they stir kids up. But the problem is that this sort of anti-American rhetoric is being taught in the classrooms, and down to the K through 12 level. Talking about what a bad country America is, and these teachers they'll go off book and start talking about how the Palestinians are how they're being treated and all that, and kids have skulls full of mush. They're not developed yet. So you get people in power positions and start spewing politics instead of letting kids make up their own decisions as they start indoctrinating them to this stuff.
Yep. Luckily,
you inoculated your kids against that.
Exactly.
This was a very strange and very sad story out of Paulding County.
No, this is around you, right?
Yeah, it's in Hiram. It's very close to where I am. This is an apartment complex in Hiram. It's called the Columns. I don't know exactly where it is, but it says on Bill Caruth Parkway, which is 278. All right, 17-year-old Khalil Wigfall and his mother, Denise Dowell, were involved in a domestic dispute when she reportedly stabbed her son multiple times. Killed the kid.
Jeez.
So she comes out with the knife, is told to drop it, does not. They deployed a taser. It was ineffective.
Stabbed herself too.
Yeah. And then she got popped. They shot her and killed her.
Yep.
She had multiple opportunities not to run at a deputy with a knife. Multiple opportunities, even after getting tased, to lay down and let's figure out what's going on if it's a mental health crisis. At the point where she started endangering other lives, she got popped.
Well, but of course, she already killed her son with a knife, so she could definitely kill a police officer with a knife. I mean, you have to respond to deadly force with deadly force.
And look, her family has already been interviewed saying they could have done something else. She was obviously having a mental health crisis. I think they said she was an Army veteran with severe PTSD. All this other stuff. Instead of saying that it's very sad, and honestly, I feel for the deputies and officers involved. And I don't know who fired the shot, whether it was Paulding County Sheriff's Office or Hiram PD. It doesn't matter. Whoever was involved in that, they have to deal with taking a life. Nobody's the winner here.
No, nobody is. Nope. And
instead of her family showing a little bit of class and saying she must have been having a mental mental episode. I wish she had just been clear enough to drop the knife, and then we could find out what was wrong with her. I mean, look, she'd still get prosecuted. I mean, you've got to be. There's a very high standard to be too crazy to stand trial. All right. Speaking of murderers, firing squad execution we talked about last week.
We did, but we were we didn't know what this happened last week.
The details.
The details, but I thought it would be more, but it was 3 prison employees armed with rifles shot Sigmund at once. So that's how they do it up in South Carolina. It's only 3 people. And the lawyer the lawyer described it. The lawyer said the wound on his chest opened very abruptly and violently.
Well, that's what happens when you get hit by something going 3,000 feet per second.
Yeah, when a doctor approached to check his pulse, the attorney said it appeared that his chest was briefly still moving. The staff who volunteered to be the shooter, so you have to actually volunteer to do this, fired around 6 p.m. and he was declared dead roughly after. I don't know what they shot him with, though. That's what I was looking for, and I couldn't figure it out. But yeah, they shot through a hole. So I guess they were on the other side of a wall, and there was openings in the wall, and they were roughly 15 foot away from him. So that's how the process went on. And I guess they aimed right at his heart and shot him in the heart, right? And I don't know if it was 3 employees. I don't know if everybody had a bullet, or was this 2 bullets with 3 people, or did everybody have a bullet? I don't know.
I have no idea, but putting him behind the wall with just windows opening, that's the modern version of an executioner wearing a hood. Yep. Yeah. Because especially since they are employees there at the prison, you don't want reprisals or anything like that. Nobody knows which 3 it was.
So this story is over now. We will not talk about it anymore, but that was so interesting that the firing squad took out this guy.
Well, it took about 3 minutes for them to actually pronounce him.
He was dead right away. I mean...
Yeah, he's DRT.
Yeah.
The stuff
that said 3,000 feet per second, just the impact of that is unbelievable.
I mean, he was... I don't know how long his brain functioned after that, but it was not long because
it wasn't.
Because the heart stops sending blood to the brain.
Sort of a humane way to do it. I mean, it may be more humane than any other way.
I don't know. Dope sounds advantageous.
I'd rather be put to sleep and then shot if I was doing it. So maybe that would be my request. I'm never going to do anything that warrants the death penalty, though.
Never say never. I don't feel for the guy. He admitted what he did. He admitted why he did it, what he was thinking, and he also kidnapped his girlfriend, who jumped out of a moving car after killing her parents. And look, the guy is not a good guy, or was not a good guy. But I don't know. It's the description is very interesting. Like they say, he's talking about. Looks like he was fighting against restraints. No, that's just the muscles don't know they're dead yet.
Yep.
In my opinion, anybody who's been a hunter knows that the twitching and all that stuff, but they're DRT, dead right there.
Yep.
All right. Apparently, it's okay to tackle a senator.
Back to Colton Moore. Yeah. So he actually took out a warrant for the arrest of. Do you remember who was Speaker's, I guess, right hand man, Williams?
His henchman.
Yeah, his henchman. This happened when Senator Moore tried to get into the House chambers a month or so ago at Governor Kemp's state address, and Senator Moore actually got thrown down outside, and the case finally went to, I guess this was the magistrate judge, Robert Wolf, and they were trying to press charges, including battery and aggravated battery. And the judge basically said there's not sufficient probable cause. He said it doesn't rise to that level. And that's why I'm denying the warrant applications for battery and aggravated battery. Colton was represented by Catherine Bernard, who has hosted this show before. And she put something out on Facebook that said, I have seen a lot more people, warrants issued for people in a lot different or a lot less circumstances for probable cause. So, and I saw somebody commented, there's people in jail for less on what this guy did.
Yeah, I mean, tackle is one way to put it. He was slammed to the ground. To it's marble flooring, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. He was slammed to the ground. So, My note on this is, if you think that he was treated any different, go up to the House chambers today, or when this show drops on Monday, or go in there on Tuesday. And when a representative tries to walk into the House chamber, grab one of them and slam them down and see what happens to you. And I promise you, you'll be in jail that day. You won't get the same treatment that this guy's got.
That day, Georgia State Patrol will take you out that minute.
They would take you out right away. So I'm not sure why there's a different. I mean, I guess I'm being stupid here. But yeah, this guy should have been issued a warrant because he threw down a senator. And if you do the same thing tomorrow, you'll get arrested. So it's definitely different justice here being applied, or different rules being applied to different people.
Yeah, and we don't allow just following orders here.
Right.
He had no right to lay his hands on Senator Moore. None.
Yep. No, he should have never touched the senator.
And I thought that Catherine's, she wrote about it on Facebook. I thought that what she had said about was I mean, quite accurate. I mean, she's one of the smartest people that I know, and best attorneys. But she's operated as a defense attorney and can point out and say no. And because she's been in criminal law for enough time, she has seen what rises to a warrant. And look, if had it been a police officer standing there looking for a warrant for that action, it'd have been done. The Georgia State Patrol still should act. Maybe after session, I don't know.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of things you can't detain people during session, or members during session.
Yep.
All right, Jonesboro mayor resigned, but then unresigned.
Yeah, this is kind of right in between us. If you know where, most people probably know where Jonesboro is. It used to be kind of a quiet town, but it's not anymore. Yes, so that Jonesboro Mayor Donna Sarter announced her resignation last week. That says she was stepping down, and a couple hours later, she reversed her decision and said she was coming back. And supposedly, she said there was a decision by the Attorney General years ago that would allow her to rescind her resignation. And now the City Council is actually looking into that. What's going on here behind the scenes is they're doing an audit of all the city's finances and all the charge cards that were used by the employees and elected officials. I assume there's going to be some stuff in that audit where these charge cards were not being used properly. That's probably why the mayor resigned. I'm not sure why she came back at the latest minute, but it's so funny to me. I work in a credit card business. I mean, I've been doing it for 25 years. I started off at TSYS down in Columbus, which does credit card programs for banks. It is amazing how many city governments get in trouble with charge cards or with credit cards and how employees use them. And it's from not collecting receipts, it's to using them on things they shouldn't be using them on. It's just amazing how many counties get in trouble. And I know Jessica's done stories before of down in her neck of the woods where county governments have gotten in trouble without buying, suits and clothes and taking trips all
boots.
on boots all on the county's credit card. And there's actually ways to really control the spend on these cards. So you can set the credit limit back down to zero when they're not being used. You can up the credit limit when they need to be used. There's a lot of different ways to manage these programs, these card programs. But I can't wait to see what this audit has. There could be some people probably going to jail up in the Jonesboro area. But it's so interesting that counties can't manage a card program.
I don't understand how many employees need a card.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there should be maybe one or two. I mean, it depends on what the program is. Like in our county, I don't have a card for county government. I don't want one. There's no reason for me to have a card. And when I travel, they reimburse us if we need to be reimbursed, and we have to provide receipts. But some counties give county commissioners, I'm sure, a card and say, use this if you need to. And that's when people get into trouble.
Well, we were talking before the show about Parks and Rec. I can understand the head of maintenance needing a card. One of the vehicles blows a tire and it's Saturday. Okay, yeah, go to the tire shop, that's approved. Run it, keep the receipt, done. Does every employee in Parks and Rec need it? Absolutely not. but maybe the department head, maybe somebody who can be contacted for an emergency can have access to that. What
you should do, what you should, if you've got a program, is you should be reviewing charges every week. You should be making, even if the department head has one, make him turn in all his receipts, and you stay on it every single week. You don't go like a year without looking at where the money was spent. So they're just not managing the programs correctly, and it's not that hard to do.
The problem with credit card statements, because I have to go through this with Dr. Cool, is when we enter things into QuickBooks, it'll come up SG 185. I'm like, what the hell is that? You have to go on the internet, type that. Oh, that's Shell Gas number 185 at that address, and then then we can put that into Shell. But it doesn't come across. It doesn't come across as. It'll just come across as Amazon. It doesn't come across as what the hell you bought at Amazon. And for accounting, buying something at Amazon could be a legitimate charge, but it could also be a pair of high-end boots. All right. This is a good time to remind you that these are our opinions, not those of anyone, not on the show or any respective company for which we may work, own, or otherwise associate ourselves with on a regular or irregular basis. Also, you can find other episodes and relevant stories over the GeorgiaVirtue.com. You got Governor Greasy for the mule, Ken.
Yeah, we're going to end the show talking about California for a couple stories. But yeah, my mule, look, I think it's Gavin Newsom this week, but I actually think he is by far the leading contender for the Democrat presidential nomination in 2028. And he's already starting to make moves. So this week, Gavin Newsom is a crazy lunatic, fringe lefty. But he's got a podcast now. And on his podcast this week, he had Charlie Kirk, who, if you think of two polar opposites, it would be Gavin Newsom and Charlie Kirk. And Kirk asked him whether he would say no men in female sports. So they're just having this discussion. And Charlie's like, you got to understand that, men shouldn't play in female sports. And Gavin Newsom said, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness. It's deeply unfair. So he just made his move to the middle, right? So what Gavin Newsom can see is he can look at the tea leaves, and he knows all this stuff about men playing in women's sports. It's not a popular. I mean, it's
80-20. It's 80-20.
It's 99-1 maybe. I mean, I can't find hardly anybody that thinks this is a good thing. So he's staking out the middle ground. But what he did to be my mule this week is he said it's not fair, but then he also went on and said, all these people really struggle and we shouldn't go after them and we should have a lot of, no, I mean, we need to call it like it is on this kind of stuff. Grown men trying to play in women's sports, that's not, most of that's not mental issues. It's just men wanting to compete against women. So he tried to play the middle, right? He said, no, men shouldn't play in female sports. But by the way, we need to do blah, 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 blah. So
when you listen to Riley Gaines describe having to be in the locker room with Mia Thomas.
In the locker room. Yeah.
And she's talking about a fully naked, fully intact man.
Yep.
Standing around. And look, it's not like soccer where you can kind of wear your leave your underwear on. You just kind of get from your street clothes, and which is bad enough. Swimwear. I mean, you've got to get naked to get that stuff on and off.
Yeah.
And so, he's making his shift to the middle. People in California are pissed at him.
Yeah, they're mad at him. But I mean, look, he's got to shift to the middle if he wants to win. Well, this is a challenge he's going to have: is you got to win a primary, you got to win a Democrat primary, and then the middle. You
have to take California in the primary.
Yeah, but the middle ground helps him in a general, but it doesn't help him in a crazy Democrat primary. Now, the question is there going to be enough Democrats, even in the midterms next year? And then when they start running for governor, and the same thing's going to happen in Georgia. We saw where Lucy McBath this week, who is a congressman up on the north side of Atlanta, she says she's going to run for governor in Georgia next year. The question is going to be what positions they stake out, and are they going to continue down this line? With all the
McBath is a single issue person.
She's a gun person. Yeah, because I mean,
that's
granted, her son was killed with guns. I probably would be too if that happened to me like it did to her. But yeah, she's a single issue person. But she's She's represented a 6th and a 7th district up on the north side of Atlanta. She's represented almost half the people in the state of Georgia at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see if these people navigate towards the middle. If Democrats finally figure out we've got to get back more mainstream and in the middle where a lot of people want to live, or are we going to stay a hardcore left and appease this kind of militant left, hard left? It's I think you're going to see a lot more gradual moves over to the middle, and you'll have to do this in Georgia. I mean, if they want to win the governorship in Georgia, you're going to have to get back towards the middle.
They will come after McBath hard. I mean, hard in the paint on that one.
Yeah, the Republicans will, but she's got, I mean,
even there are a lot of gun-loving Democrats in Georgia too.
Yeah, there are.
And if that's all she can talk about, because that's the only thing she got elected on. That's the only thing is you feel. Yeah, of course I feel for her. She lost her son. Of course, it's horrible. Did I shoot her son? No. Why do I have to give up my firearms?
Yeah.
So anyway, speaking of peckers where they don't belong, can San Francisco get any weirder?
This was a crazy story too. So this is a Russian-style spa. Do you know what those are?
Yes.
I haven't been to one before. Have you?
No, I saw a Travel Channel thing where they stopped in there and beat each other across the back with birch branches and stuff.
Yeah, but this is basically a Russian-style spa, which is called a bathhouse. And in these Russian-style bathhouses, everybody goes in and takes off all their clothes. It's kind of what you have to do if you want to go into one of these spas. It's a fully new type environment. So the spa out in California in San Francisco, it's called Archimedes Banya, announced earlier this month that its designated women's only night would now be limited to those who were assigned the sex at birth, with the spa's operators claiming the change was intended to create a phallus-free environment for patrons from religious and cultural backgrounds to ensure their comfort. So what ended up happening is women were trying to have this women's only night. Men were identifying as women, coming in to the spa, getting fully nude in front of the women. And even in San Francisco, there are some women that don't like that policy. Hard to believe, ain't it? That even in San Francisco, you've got some women that don't want to have their space where they can feel safe. So guess what happened when they announced this? Yeah. The LGBTQ community and the transgender community just went crazy out there. Said that they were treating trans women should not be treated as scapegoat for misogyny by cisgender male staff, canceling their memberships, all this kind of good stuff. So,
look, it's one night a month.
One night a month. And they also made one night a month where men with a phallus, I guess, can associate there. And then there's another night of the month where it's open to all individuals who identify as women, regardless of sex assigned at birth. So now we've got 3 unique nights at this bathhouse. 1, you got to have a wiener. 2, you can't have a wiener. And 3, you can be a woman, but you can't have a wiener. So make it make sense.
Well, I'm not Roman, so I'm not into public bathing.
I'm not either. Or Russian in this case.
Well, yeah, but you always think Roman baths.
Started it. Yeah, the Roman baths, yeah.
Nobody
wants me to be in a bath fully nude either.
Yeah. Even my wife closes the door on me. No, I was in a hotel in Spain that had a Turkish bath in the bottom floor, and I did not hit the button on the elevator to go down there. I'm afraid of what will happen. Look, women should feel safe enough not to have to look across the pool and say, why does that chick have an erection?
Yes. And why is the left not defending women in this case? Why is the left always the ones that says, women, you got to go take a bath, or you've got to go to a bathhouse with dudes? Like, when is the left ever going to stand up for women?
That's
what's amazing.
They've abandoned women.
Yeah, they have. They've totally abandoned women. And
for sub 1% of the population.
Yeah, for sub 1%. I just don't understand why the left, for like you said, sub 1% has abandoned.
What do biological females make up? Is it 52, 53%?
Yeah,
of the population.
And they vote the most too. And at some point, this is going to come back to hurt them from a voting standpoint.
Look, them going out and just crashing their reviews, especially people who've never been there. I had it happen to me. I had the left crowd come after me with Dr. Cool because I did something. I took a cake or something over to the sheriff's department. It was Valentine's Day, and there's just a community project to take cakes and cookies and things over to fire departments and sheriff's offices, local PDs, and just be nice to the guys that are working that day. Just have some guys and gals that are working that day have something nice for them. So I took a picture with the chief deputy, and it went out on Facebook, and they started crashing my reviews saying, and these were people that lived in Canada and never used Dr. Cool. And I got a phone call from the chief deputy, and he's like, hey brother, I'm really sorry. I mean, do you want me to take it down? I said, no, screw him, leave it up.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Go ahead and leave it up. Go ahead and let the biggest complaint against Dr. Cool be the owner supports law enforcement.
I know exactly. What is that?
Because it may not fly in Oregon, but it flies really well in Paulding County. Go for it.
Yeah,
Go ahead and you make me into a victim.
When I took a picture with the minority leader in the House when I was up there, and people started, coming on my page, my Republican friends saying, "How could you take a picture of somebody else?" It's like, oh my God, get over yourself. I mean, it's just a photo. 99% of the time, everybody gets along well together. Stop with the craziness.
But back to the bathhouses. I just don't understand one day a month, not even a week, one day a month being it's chicks only.
I know.
And especially for the Russian community, which do tend to be very religious, they don't, you're talking about Eastern Orthodox. They really don't want to sit there with a biological male. And we see that guys take advantage of it, and they'll just put on lipstick and decide I'm a female today, so I'm gonna hang naked with a bunch of women.
I know.
I mean, I wouldn't do that. I mean, if I was built like a Greek god, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because we're winding down, Ken, you have any closing thoughts? We want to talk about your trip down to Hoedown for one day?
I know. I went down to Orlando for one day for a client event. I did get to go to the Arnold Palmer Invitational Golf Tournament. Orlando, I don't care when you go to Orlando, though, the traffic's terrible. And there's always some kind of cheer competition. The hotel I stayed at, there were like 1,000 cheer girls at the hotel. I've never seen a place as busy as Orlando is. It's just, there's always something going on. But yeah, it was good. I drove down one day. Everybody said, "Why didn't you fly?" It's like 5.5 hours. Coming back, I ate it and stopped at Buc-ee's and got me one of those big old Buc-ee brisket sandwiches, which is pretty trash, but people buy them in the droves.
Is it not good? I don't go to Buc-ee's because it takes an hour.
It's just not that good. I mean, it's kind of like, I like Buc-ee's. It's huge. I mean, it's a city block, but I wouldn't. If I'm rating the brisket sandwich, we're going like 3.5 out of 10. We're not a brisket sandwich fan of Buc-ee's, but the place is cool. But yeah, no, Orlando was great. It was fun.
If I have to sit down, go to the bathroom, I'll stop at a Buc-ee's.
Oh yeah, it's very clean.
If I can do a drive by and stand up, or if I'm traveling with my wife and she has to go, and if there's a Buc-ee's, like, well, let's stop somewhere that's got the cleanest bathrooms for you, because you have to sit on whatever seat is there. All right, well, I don't have anything besides, if you like what you heard, please like and share us on the social media, inflict us on your friends. Big thank you to Eric Cumby, who takes our audio and turns it into something to listen to. Ken Poland, my partner's endeavor. I'm Dave Roberts. We'll talk to you next week.
I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.